best of every situation. Cause in a life there is a little complication. Still a genuine. It's a decision. Big up Mama Iris and Jamie, what a union. Hey, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Look out, look out, look out, look out. My love is coming at you like an arrow. You are the owner, so you now go borrow. You are so good to me. The auditorium and symphony. Flying high like no two are we a sparrow. Love you now go wait till tomorrow. Satisfaction.
Alright.
Guaranteed. Happy celebrity. This is the love I need. Good love and guaranteed. Guaranteed.
I want to say a pleasant good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We're locked and loaded right here inside Roadblock Radio, the better sound in radio. And of course, right now it's just about 8 minutes after 2 o'clock, and we welcome everybody inside the Community Connection for another Sunday afternoon. Hopefully you had a good morning. Get ready to hear what's going on in the world. And of course, Patrick Reed and Roslyn is standing by. Let me see if I can bring them in. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, good afternoon, Garfield. Blessings this afternoon to each and everyone inside Roadblock Radio, roadblockradio.com. Of course, Garfield, you are here with us. Glad to have you once again, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and to Roslyn. How are you guys doing? How are you guys ringing the new year? Anything spectacular? Any fanfare?
Well, listen, man,
Happy
there's
New
always
Year.
something. Yes, indeed, Roslyn. Yeah, man. Garfield, there's always something to celebrate, man. You know, so much is happening in and around the world that celebration sometimes it seems not that important. You know, even though we ought to celebrate,
Yeah.
we certainly have more than enough on our tables to consider, given what is happening in our world today, man. A brand new year and brand new challenges, Roslyn.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And Garfield, a happy new year. I would love to say that I had this eventful new year. I think it was more eventful maybe for other people and things going on in the world, but mine was quite quiet.
Very, very good to hear. Sometimes they said a quiet man keeps on born. Is that what they say, Patrick?
So them say, brother. So them say. I'm wondering if Maduro was former president. Well, let me coin the phrase properly. President of Venezuela, now in custody.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was keeping quiet when his bone was lost. You know, I don't know.
Well,
That's what
I think it probably was a shock and awe for him.
Yeah.
When the U.S. launched on the ground there in Venezuela.
more like a quiet storm, I feel. You know, they came in the middle of the night and took him and his wife out of their beds. It's a funny world we're living in, man, but it portends so much for the future, for the region, reshaping the politics of the region, reshaping the entire hemispheric thought process, and what a government like the United States can do if it feels like it, because it has such awesome and immense power. What's the future of smaller nations in this hemisphere? It is an interesting time what we're living in. Roslyn, what's your take on this, man? Your buddy President Trump, he exerted his power, and here we are.
Well, I think it's a classic case of abuse of power. And I think it's interesting, this particular program, we seek to keep the diaspora informed. And so it wasn't that long ago, Patrick, that we had a member of parliament from Guyana on, and a fellow from a research policy institute in the Caribbean that spoke to the rising tension and gave us some background about the Monroe Doctrine that goes all the way back to the 19th century. And so I just think it's interesting in this larger frame and arc of the United States, how, we say that we are seeing a regression, right? And a lot of times when we talk about it here domestically, we say, oh, we're going back to the 60s. Well, this latest move with Maduro brought us all the way back to 1820.
Yeah, it's so interesting. The Monroe Doctrine, the president at the time stated that the United States had the right to secure this hemisphere that we say called the America's backyard, and to intervene in any nation who pose a threat, supposedly a threat to United States national interest. And that phrase always got me, Roslyn and Garfield, because I'm wondering, who defines what America's national interest is, right? It's Americans, right? So whatever they say their national interest is what they're going to shape policy based on. But the big issue is that we went to war with the country, that we've been building up to this war, invaded the country, took the leader of the country out of the country, and then declared that we're running the country. That's an amazing feat in today's landscape, especially what is happening, given what is happening on the rest of the world stage, and what it portends for so many other countries might be sitting in their offices, their palaces, or wherever, and they're scared because there are greater powers around them who could do the very same thing. This predicated on an indictment of a sitting president in that country for what is pretty much unproven as a fact, that he's a drug runner. Somebody write up some papers and say you're a drug runner, take it to a judge, get extradition papers or get whatever is necessary and say that's who you are, and then go to the media and publicize that's who you are with the power and might of the American media, backed by the power and might of the American presidency and the power and might of the military, and say that's who you are. I'm going to come to your country, arrest you, and bring you to New York City for a trial in the United States, and then I'm going to take you over your country, run the country with no apparent plan to run the country, no plan whatsoever. So it's just these guys behind me and some other folks who are going to run the country. That's what we got from the American president. No notification to the Congress of the United States, which is supposed to have the rubber stamp on these types of actions. Zero, except to say they might leak it, so we can't tell them. And now the entire press conference announcing what took place, 3/4 of it was about, well, we got to get the oil back. It is an incredible thing that we just observed happen, and I don't know how we sit comfortably and rationalize this and accept it as a legitimate action of the country of the United States. It is incredible. I just don't know. I'm flabbergasted. Maybe you guys can shed some light on this for me.
Well, you know what, Patrick, I am in lockstep with you in terms of just trying to process what the implications of this unilateral action is going to be, because what we do know is that from an international law, and quite frankly, from a domestic law perspective, it seems like the current administration is just kind of doing what it wants. And what I find to also be fascinating is that, there seems to be a mixed response among the Venezuelan immigrant community within the U.S. On one hand, we see members of the community condemning the action. On the other hand, we see folks celebrating. Now, in my mind, I go back to the first and the second Bush administrations, right, where in the latter, we saw the invasion of Iraq, right? And the people in Iraq, or there were many at least, that at first celebrated the taking down of Saddam Hussein, but they found out very quickly that their perceived liberation from a dictator was a check that was being written with insufficient funds. That check bounced very quickly, and it ended up being an extended season of turmoil in the country. Saw a similar hunger to acquire oil resources and control their oil refinery. So what I think is happening in Venezuela really is the sequel to foreign policy that we've seen in Iraq. It's just more brazen because at least, President Bush acted with the support of Congress to actually declare war about the so-called weapons of mass destruction, which we had little proof of then at the time either. But regardless, he at least acted with the powers of Congress and followed the Constitution before he went over to Iraq and captured Saddam Hussein. In Venezuela, we just see kind of a free-for-all.
Yeah, it is an interesting assessment there, Roslyn. And I wonder how people our governments, our countries in the region are really rationalizing this morning, how they're feeling, what type of trepidation they believe they're in, because this can happen in any nation that the United States just decides to put a stamp on as a rogue nation. And they're already saying they're going to go to Colombia. They are saying they're going to go to Colombia and Cuba. They are already saying it. And so I noticed that the Colombian president has called for a meeting of the United Nations. I don't know how quickly they're going to ramp up, but what does it matter? The U.S. already acted and they seem to be acting without concern for the United Nations, which is supposed to be, the check and balance internationally on actions like this. I wonder what type of. I'm curious about the debates that's going to take place in the United Nations when they do call a General Assembly to order. But I'm curious about. I'm very curious, and I wish I had someone. I was trying to get my cousin Sandrine Hill Sherwood down in Hanover to jump in to talk about how Jamaicans might be feeling in Jamaica this morning, having observed what happened. I wonder how Trinidad is feeling. Trinidadians are feeling because they are complicit in this action. They allowed the United States to do exercise on their land.
Oh,
they also allow U.S.
Wait a minute, Patrick.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait a minute. Is it the Trinidadian people, or is it just their prime minister who seems to be
these things
complicit?
never just. I mean, these leaders seem to speak on behalf of the people, even though they don't have the people's sanction to do what they do. But Trinidad will be implicated as a nation in aiding and abetting this action by the United States. And so will Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, of course, is a United States territory. Those two countries are the two countries in which were part of the staging of this escapade in Venezuela. And so I'm wondering how this what happened. The Bush the Trump administration. I'm saying Bush because I'm recalling so much similarities between them. The Trump administration made no mention of Trinidad. No thank you for anything that they have done. And furthermore, dismissed any entity within Venezuela. And in terms of who could run the country. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I think Trinidad has to be aware of its alliance with the United States and how that's going to work out for them, because Venezuela will have a long memory on this, and it's all about the oil, right? It's all about oil. Maybe Trinidad is waiting to get a nice little, and there was a contract that was supposed to be in place between the U.S. and Trinidad regarding ramping up Trinidad's oil production, which I don't hear much about now, but we'll see where that goes. But the countries in the Caribbean must be very concerned about how they conduct their domestic policies going forward, whether or not the U.S. can deem them unworthy and decide to invade them. So we are on a slippery slope, I believe. Garfield, man, what do you hear from Jamaica? And everybody's up there calling you, screaming or spouting concerns.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard from anyone yet. I haven't heard from the leader of the country speaking on this.
Yeah.
I imagine some leaders will be quiet on this, and just to see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm. I don't like bullies. I don't like big bad bullies. I don't like people who try to control the entire playground. Because it just stamp on other people's rights. I don't know about you guys, but I'm uneasy. I'm very uneasy, Roslyn. And I'm hoping that we can have some callers who call in this afternoon and give their perspective on what they've just observed. Garfield, give the numbers so folks can be aware of where they can call in and talk to us on their own terms.
All right, so the number is 877-255-3086. That number again is 877-255-3006. We're inside the Community Connection. We're hanging out with Roslyn and Patrick. And if you have any comment or some concern or things you like to ignite, make a fire, Patrick and Roslyn.
Bonafire.
So you can call 877-255-3086. All right.
Yeah, man. I thank you. And whether you're in Connecticut, or you're in South Florida or in tri-state area, we'd love to hear from you inside the Community Connection this afternoon. Roslyn, we were talking. You mentioned the two notables that we had conversation with a couple of weeks ago, and I can recall from the conversation where our professor and current member of Parliament of Ghana was talking about the influence of America in the region and the sovereignty issue, and certainly we have a conversation here in Venezuela about their sovereignty. I don't know if you feel like I do, that the sovereignty of the nation was really breached on this one, totally breached on this one.
Oh, certainly. And I am really proud of my new mayor, which I know we will have an opportunity to speak about later on the program, who called the president to voice his opposition to this action, because it is a violation of their sovereignty. And I think we also have to look at this in a broader, arc, and the legacy of imperialism and colonialism, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does any country, particularly those that are run by people of color, face retribution if they say, we want to control the natural resources that are a part of our land, right? Because I think if leaders, kowtow and, just go with the flow of not fairly negotiating trade, right? Allowing Western forces to dictate how they use their resources, then we might not have seen this action, right? I think it comes down to, do we have the power to control and distribute our resources in fair trade agreements? And so you talk about Jamaica. Now, I know Jamaica's oil is probably like nowhere in the near of the scale that we're thinking about some of these other countries. But could you imagine, a country like Jamaica being invaded because we have some resource and decided that, we wanted only, do business with maybe China or Russia or somewhere.
Well, we had that scenario play out, Roslyn. I remember Michael Manley nationalized the bauxite industry and almost lost his life for it because, the British and the Americans and the Canadians owned 51%. And he said, let's take that under our control. And of course, the People's National Party was branded as communists because the country was definitely being embargoed by the U.S., and so having to find resources from other sources in order to feed ourselves became an issue of survival and a political issue that caused our country much pain. But I'm also thinking broadly, as you said, broadening the arc on the African continent. A lot of the countries in Africa do not control the natural resources of their lands. And a lot of European powers, including the United States, went in there and poured billions into building out the oil and gold and all natural resource mechanisms in there, put lots of money in there to do it. Now they're going to say that we put all that money in there, we want to come and claim it back because we don't like your government, so we're going to come and take back our money and bill it out and take it over and sell it, and we're going to share the money up. And of course, the statement always comes, we're going to take care of the African people or the Venezuelan people, and that never happens. It's a serious flaw that I think the president of the United States just committed a serious error, if not a crime, because not having gone to Congress to get permission to put boots on the ground, which happened, is against the laws of the United States. It's far beyond executive privilege, and I'm just wondering whether or not the American people, through its lawmakers, are going to stand up and say, hey, we can't let that go too far. This is far beyond. This is not the Monroe Doctrine being implemented. This is a multinational corporate takeover of a country, because it's only the big corporations who are going to benefit from this. We are never going to see that money in the United States. The Venezuelan people are never going to see any part of it. And that's history is telling us that. So I'm wondering if the American people and the American leaders in Congress are going to grow some cojones and own their piece of the ground and stand up and fulfill the Constitution of the United States. It's troubling me.
I think they will. I think they will be forced to in this circumstance because concurrently we have people, about to lose their health coverage, complaints about affordability. Folks cannot even afford to eat, right? Of course, we have some of the drama from these Epstein files that still have yet to be fully released. So I think people are getting smarter and they're not falling for it. And they're saying, wait a minute, if you ran on a campaign of America first, let's put America first. How can we go run a whole nother country if we're supposed to be putting America first? And oh, by the way, America's not doing that great right now. People are suffering. So where is the priority? And then, if we invade another country and say we're taking it over, what kind of resources are we as an American people going to be expected to invest in maintaining, this military presence within a whole nother nation? I think we're really in the let them eat cake territory where folks are fed up. This ballroom is being built, starting wars overseas that you're going to have to pour more and more money into, because every time something like this happens, Patrick's, and it doesn't matter what administration is in, whether it's red or blue, they say it's going to be a short ordeal, and it ends up being a multi-year commitment that ends up costing the American people millions and billions of dollars.
Millions and millions of dollars. Well, we're going to go and come and chat it up on the other side. Garfield, take us out, my brother. We'll come back inside the Community Connection.
WMXJ HD3 Roadblock Radio FM. WMXJ 1027 FM HD3 Roadblock. Woo! WZMX FM HD3 Hartford.
Run the music.
Roadblock 93.7, your Caribbean hit station.
We are getting more reaction from across the region. We had earlier told you about the president of Colombia denouncing these apparent strikes. Now we are hearing from Cuba's government, Cuba's president Miguel Diaz-Canel, that Cuba denounces and urgently demands a reaction of the international community against what it calls a criminal attack by the U.S. on Venezuela. Against that's a reaction from Cuba. And of course, as you've been reporting, the Venezuelan government accusing the U.S. of extremely serious military aggression. We should stress, however, we have not yet heard from the White House. We have not yet heard from the Pentagon. No confirmation that it is, in fact, the U.S. Behind what's transpiring here or there in Venezuela. But as we've been reporting, and as we were speaking about with Richard earlier, this strongly suggests some sort of coordinated attack. And given the context of the ongoing tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela, it certainly raises a lot of questions about the U.S. and possible involvement here. As I've been speaking with my sources there on the ground, yes, there do seem to be several military targets among those that were hit by these explosions. Again, according to one source, an analyst who's quite connected with the situation down there, one of those locations targeted is the Fuerte Tiuna military complex in central Caracas, a main operational headquarters of Venezuela's armed forces. Again, that's according to one of my sources, not confirmed, but this is all very preliminary information.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
I heard in this conversation. I don't want Caribbean people to sit out there on their laurels and stay quiet. You know, we got to get a little rambunctious in this issue here, because Venezuela is right in our backyard. It's in our backyard, and someone came into our backyard and said that one of the leaders in the backyard is a mess. And he is a mess. He has been a mess. But who has the right to go in there and take him out? And if he resisted, kill him. Because that would have happened. If he had locked himself into that bunker and they blew it up, chances are he would have died, and they would have said that, hey, he resisted and he fired on us and we killed him. This is something we cannot tolerate, because the next time someone down in Grenada, who, by the way, the Grenadian president refused to use Grenada as a spy ground on Venezuela, because they were approached by the United States. They did not accept that, like Trinidad did. And if Trinidad goes one day and says they want to assert some independence, the United States will agree with, or Jamaica for that matter, you know, the United States can say, well, it's against our national interest for them to say no and invade or embargo. You know, a lot of folks have to remember the plight that Venezuelans find themselves in were made twofold. First, the Maduro government did not take care of the people. Their dictatorial style did not take care of their country. They did not, prioritize their people's well-being, right? At least that's what we're told. And it's kind of clear to see that if millions are fleeing the country, something ain't right. But look at the other side of that. That was not helped by the embargo the United States put on Venezuela for years. Gutted the country's economy. I mean, choked the country to death. So if you're being choked and you don't have good intentions to begin with, you are going to stifle. And the people of Venezuela have been the one who were stifled, who were choked to death by both Venezuela and the United States of America, because the United States of America wanted the control of the largest reserves of oil in the world. That is the de facto the reason that they choked the country to death, caused a flood of migrants from that country into South America and the United States itself. You know, so folks have to put this thing in the right perspective, and the government of this country did not operate in good stead, not under Trump 1, Trump 2, not under Biden, and not under Obama either. So folks have to understand that what happened to the Venezuelan people is a result of U.S. national policy and multinational corporate policy backed up by U.S. might. And this is what has happened, because they all intended to take the oil away from the country. Now, what of Guyana, who has such a large reserve of oil, a small nation of 750,000 people? No resistance can be put up against anyone from Guyana. It's the goodwill of Exxon, who's over there pumping billions into it and have to get that recoupment before they start sharing with the Guyanese people in any great measure. You know, I mean, a few cents are trickling into Guyana now, but billions are going to Exxon. Billions are coming into the United States. What if Guyana says, you know what, we want to nationalize it. We want to control the oil, the riches from this resources ourselves. They're done. They're done, right? They can't even think it out loud. So this and any other country, you know, I wonder why, Roslyn, I wonder why Garfield, the hurricane was so, you know, pointed towards Jamaica. You know, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist here, but why was the hurricane so pinpoint on Jamaica and messed Jamaica up so much that he couldn't even respond? Because Jamaica has a strong voice in the region. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Help me out, man. I'm losing my mind here. Help me out.
I don't know.
Save me before I go off the deep end.
Maybe global warming.
Okay, Garfield. I don't want to be cynical, but Roslyn, maybe you can throw me a line here. I'm thinking.
Well, you know what? I think the point that I can't escape from is the fallout and the implications of all of this. Like, we can't even begin to fathom it because this story is still happening in real time, and the international community is exactly where you are, Patrick, like just trying to make sense of it. What I do find to be very compelling is that we have seen even members out there in the political ecosystem that have supported Trump for a long time are raising their voices to say, hey, this is not America First policy. So not only is this causing tensions abroad, right? And we're yet to see how the chips are going to fall there in terms of what, if any, consequence there will be for the United States, right? We're also seeing a splintering domestically amongst MAGA over this unilateral action. And you know what? I think by the time we're doing the next episode of Community Connections, we'll have some more data points to really understand what this means from a trajectory standpoint.
I wonder whether or not any of the MAGA followers or supporters out there really understand what the MAGA agenda is. Because it seems to be controlled at the top, and the followers don't have a clue of what is going on, in my sense. In my assessment, I don't think they have a clue of what is going on. You know, they may be, together on a few points. You know, the abortion issue, some of the other progressive issues that they are all fighting for. But on the bigger picture, do they understand what the MAGA agenda is? The MAGA agenda is I don't believe considers them, because if the MAGA agenda considers them, then it would be easy for the president to go to the Congress and say, hey, let's take it to the people because we're going to take action in this country, right? What were they afraid of? That the Republicans in Congress would shoot back and say, no, you can't invade Venezuela. That's not what we're all about. That's against the law. That's against the Constitution. What was the administration afraid of? Why didn't you take it to the people of the Congress of the United States? None of the so-called, what do they call themselves, the Big Eight, or what are they? I forget what they call themselves, the leaders of Congress. You know, the Speaker of the House, the leader of the Senate. They did not get a briefing. None of the Democrats got a briefing on this happening. None of those big eights were called into session. Maybe a few Republicans, but you know, everybody was suspected of being that they would commit treason. They would leak. Imagine that, the president saying that his Congress that the Republicans control would leak. He's calling the Republicans as well tattletales. It is amazing how this policy is working out.
You know what? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Garfield.
So you think that, Patrick, if the Congress was against him, don't you think he would go it alone?
It would have been much more difficult to go it alone. He's on the assumption that he's going to do it and they're going to have to deal with it. You know, it's like saying, break the law and then deal with consequences, right? Mm-hmm. That's where his mind is. Go ahead, Roslyn, you were saying.
No, I was just going to say it's interesting to see other Republican leaders come out, such as Marco Rubio, trying to now assert that the action that took place in Venezuela is not indeed an act of war. So what we have seen on the other side is, okay, he bypassed Congress and now he has members of his regime stating or trying to downplay what has actually occurred and redefine it so as to give the appearance that they have not broken the Constitution. But you know what I would love to have on this program, Patrick, and you can let me know if you're with me on this or you could completely shoot it down. I would love to bring on a constitutional attorney of some sort.
Let's go for it, Roslyn. You're thinking the same. Go ahead. Let's get it. There's no shooting down in the Community Connection. Go right ahead.
No, seriously. I want someone who's going to give us the facts about the Constitution so that we can really walk away informed. And I think we need to bring someone on here that, let's say, is conservative, but can speak respectfully about what the true, perspective is from the right out there right now, because I kind of feel that they're scattered as well. On one hand, you have Marco Rubio saying, oh, this isn't an act of war. And then you have people like Marjorie Green saying, hey, we want to hear about affordable housing. We want to hear about jobs. We want to hear about, lower health care, not big corporations going over to Venezuela and literally, having a field day with the oil industry.
Roslyn, I was reading an article. I don't know if it was you who sent it to me, but it was comparing, what has happened now to what happened in the past with the Atlantic slave trade, as well as what brought forth the let me just get it right. We're talking about Puerto Rico, right? What brought forth the resistance and the actions in Puerto Rico. Corporations have always had their hand in the mix in these big wars. Nothing happened in Iraq that was not to the benefit of corporations, right? So, the way the United States foreign policy has been conducted over the years, that they're sending the guys in the State Department to go and hamstring and twist and turn the necks of governments they think stand in their way of getting access to resources. And then if those guys don't get what they want, they embargo countries, they put on all kinds of restrictions on nations. They even seize their bank accounts. They call them communists. They do all kinds of stuff to demean those governments because they said, no, we're not giving you what you want. And if that does not work, then they go for regime change, and that's where the United States president now, who's a corporate head, goes in and says, well, that guy over there is a communist. He's killing his people. He's doing all kinds of stuff. And we're going to use the military to go in there and take him out. It's the same playbook. It happened all over Africa. It happened all over Asia, in Europe, and it's happening in the Caribbean. The slave trade was about corporations making money off the backs of people, and if people resisted, then they did dastardly things. This is about these corporations taking the resources and making the money off the backs of the Venezuelan people. And if they resist, in the form of a Maduro who says, I ain't giving it up to you, okay? You may have put money in here, but the resource in the ground is ours, okay? Let's renegotiate. And he says, no, we're not renegotiating. We're embargoing you. We're going to kill your economy until you come around. And you have an obstinate leader that says, like Chavez and Maduro, that says, no, we ain't going nowhere. You can do what you want to do. We're going to sell to China. We're going to sell to Russia. We're going to sell to other countries, Iran or whatever. And then the military comes in and say, we'll kill you. This is what is going on in front of our eyes, and we ought not to mistake that it's any different than it's always been. President Trump is playing by that playbook. The Congress some of the people in Congress are playing as though they don't understand it, but they support it. And then those who have a conscience are being shut out and shut down. New leadership in this country is going to have to decide whether or not that is the playbook they're going to go for, because this is going to be a crapshoot. The United States already calling for involvement in Iran's not a domestic policy, a domestic situation. All right. We have the president of the United States really giving, Zelensky the boot. He's really stabbing the guy in the back, and people aren't saying it, but that's what's going on. He's selling, Ukraine out to the Russians, and it's going to happen. As I sit and breathe here in the Community Connection, you will tell me a year from now that Ukraine got the short end of the stick. Okay, and what is happening in Gaza is still yet unresolved, and the Palestinians are not going to get anything out of it. It's just the same playbook, and we have to, as Americans, we really have to decide where we stand. Whether we stand behind the Constitution of the country, or we're going to stand behind a leader who has, his own constituency, and that is not the constituency of the people, as far as I can see it.
And you know what, Patrick, I think that was a really great summary of a lot of what's happening across the world. And I remember on the last episode we had of 2025, everyone kind of got to say where their focus was. And I know you are laser focused on the midterm elections. So I'm curious, in light of everything that you just mentioned from a foreign policy perspective, what impact do you think that's going to have on the midterms?
Well, Garfield has a spot-on analysis, Garfield. I know you have it wrapped up, man, so I'm scared to take that on in front of you.
No, I don't. I'm listening.
Go ahead, man. Well, Garfield, what do you think is going to come out in the midterm? Given all this stuff, what do you see? What do you think is even in your locality, whether you're in Patterson, New Jersey, or you're in East Orange, New Jersey, or you're standing in Hartford or Bridgeport, Connecticut, or Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, down there in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, wherever you might be in Key Largo or Jupiter, you have to have a concern and a perspective about what this next election is going to mean. What say you, Garfield?
Let's see. Well, I mean, we have some people that we're trying to put in the mix so that it's not overwhelming on one side, but we're trying to balance the thing. So we have our people that we're going to be voting for to make sure that the aisle is balanced. And that's what we're looking forward to doing.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think the best we can ask for is that there'll be an outpouring of folks in the next election, that there'll be overwhelming turnout, Roslyn, that says we think we are not exactly going in the right direction, and we want some balance. We want some checks and balance in Congress. And that would mean that we'd have to flip the House, flip the Senate, or maybe flip the Senate, and maybe even get the White House on notice that the next election there would be a change as well. So it's going to be a dogfight, because MAGA folks have earned and gained so much over the last year, just a year, man. They have gained more than any other political party. I think maybe only a few in this history of this country have gained so much, from its leadership. In terms of what it seeks to achieve in going into office, and so I think folks are going to have to take a hard look at where we are and search your conscience to see whether or not we're going in the right direction. And a lot of it is going to depend on what happens with this Venezuela issue, how it plays out. Where are we going to be getting into the satellite business where we really control another country from afar, without any military boots on the ground? Because there's not one soldier, at least, let me not say that, I might be wrong. There might be some soldiers actually in Venezuela that they didn't tell us about. They don't tell us everything, Roslyn. So, how do we control Venezuela from here? How do we run the country from here? And if Americans are going to sign on to running another country, what does it entail? And shouldn't the people speak on that? Shouldn't they vote for it? It'd be interesting to hear the campaign rhetoric coming up from candidates who are vying for various offices, whether it's in Congress or whether it's the House or the Senate or the governor's offices or state legislatures. Whatever the case might be, folks have to speak, and that's going to be what I look for.
Yes, and you know what, Patrick, to your point, I think there's already a trend in recent years of historic turnout. And I know that was true, at least in the New York City race. And then when I think back to the Obama years, we saw historic voter turnout. But, one thing I think is the silver lining of all of this chaos is that there are so many more people across generations that are engaged in politics now that weren't before, or it was thought of as like this boring thing. The circumstances has really driven people to come together in ways that we haven't seen in a long time, and just a unique interest. Even when I see young people, taking an interest in these topics, and what I'm seeing on social media, right? It actually gives me hope that even in the midst of the storm, even in the midst of evil, right, we're still somehow able to raise our collective consciousness about the world. And quite frankly, I think when it comes to Venezuela, the moment it feels so heavy, it really does. And I think part of why it feels so heavy is because we just stepped into 2026. That means we are
our New Year resolution, our New Year present.
But it's not just a new year. It means we are a quarter into 21st century. And this event and how it plays out is going to define how the rest of the 21st century goes. Is it going to be business as usual? Like when we talk about transatlantic slave trade and foreign corporate interests, right? What are we going to look back and say about the 21st century and how the world reoriented itself around justice, equality, and fairness?
Well, Roslyn, you hit that's a magic question right there. That's a big question, and some of that will play out in the election. And let's see how it goes. Let's keep the conversation going inside the Community Connection, folks. And we're glad you're here to join us. You can jump in the next hour and talk to us. 877-255-3086 is the number. 877-255-3086. Give us a call, and we'll chat it up a bit. We'll go and come. Garfield, take us out, man. Hey, Mam Donnie had a lot to say. Roslyn, you're gonna bring us up to speed, man, and talk about our very rambunctious new mayor of New York City. We'll go and come.
All right, once again, we are inside the Community Connection here with Roslyn and, of course, Patrick Reed. We're into the first hour, and we're coming up on the break. We'll be in the second hour next, and you can certainly call us here at 877-255-3086, and we talk about the issues at hand. We'll take a break, but here we go with a song from Rush Shiloh, Roadblock Radio.
It's you, can you feel me on this girl? All of me, it's true. You bring out the real man in me now. All of me, needs you, girl. Yeah, all of me, it's true. Yeah, it took her quite a while to let me hold her hands. She said she was afraid of another one-night stand, girl. It took a lot of love from the sweet lover man to know that she can trust me.
Here's what's coming up.
You understand, girl. All of me needs you, girl. All of me. It's true. You bring out the real man in me, girl. All of me needs you, girl. Oh, all of me. It's true, yeah. Here we are together, much later on in life, raising up a family, husband, children, and wife. I remember clearly on our very first day, how my heart was pumping, and I just couldn't wait to tell you that all of me needs you. Can you feel me on this, girl? All of me, it's true. You bring out the real man in me, girl. Love, I'm telling you about L-O-V-E, love. There are days when we are friends and nights when we are lovers. Got a lot of time, let's see what we discover. It's not surprising that I love you more each day. And my only wish is my heart doesn't stray, girl. All of me needs you. Can you feel me on this, girl? All of me, it's true. You bring out the real man in me, girl. All of me needs you, girl. Girl, all of me, my love. I'm talking about L-O-V-E, love. Baby, L-O-V-E, love. All of me needs you. Can you feel me on this, girl? All of me, it's true. You bring out the real man in me, girl. All of me needs you, girl. Girl, love you, baby, love you, yeah. Oh, girl. Oh, baby. All of me
you're in or out, gotta know what you're all about.
Roadblock Radio. Island Mix Weekends.
It's either you're in or out, gotta know what you're all about. Be bold and strong, tell yourself you're not doing wrong. Once you're in, you gotta take it. Make your mind up, son, and face it, because warriors don't cry. I know lots of folks will hate you, and not because they want to, but sometimes they don't even know why. So don't watch the crowd. Their duty is to be loud. Believe in what you're doing and feel proud. 'Cause when you fall along the way, people will have lots to say. They don't really care if you make it through the day. You're in or out, gotta know what you're all about. Be bold and strong. Tell yourself you're not doing wrong. There's no true friend when you're hungry, not if he is hungry too, no. At times you can't rely, because the same brother will sell you with the offer, yes. Feels good and sets him right. So don't watch the crowd. The duty is to be loud. Believe in what you're doing and feel proud. 'Cause when you fall along the way, people will have lots to say. They don't really care if you make it through the day. You're in or out, gotta know what you're all about. Be bold and strong. Tell yourself you're not doing wrong. You're in or out, gotta know what you're all about. Gotta be bold and strong. Tell yourself you're not doing wrong.
WZMX 93.7 HD3 Hartford.
I see love from a distance, coming but slowly. I know it's gonna last forever. I feel it's coming closer, closer and closer. It's the time we get it together. Whoa, I know you done a lot of wrong, but I'm willing to forgive. No one has the right to decide how the other made you live. Sometimes we should stop and count to 10 before we make each other hurt. 'Cause later on you realize it really had no worth. I see love from a distance, coming but slowly. I know it's gonna last forever. I feel us getting closer, closer and closer. It's the time we get it together. Whoa, whoa. Mama, she started us for so long with her heart all full of tears, and the wisdom in her eyes kept me safe through all the years. Make me grow to understand that there's still good folks around, and to keep it in our hearts is to be on solid ground. I see love from a distance, coming back slowly. I know it's gonna last forever. I feel us getting closer, closer and closer. It's the time we get it together. Whoa, whoa.
And of course, once again, we say thank you for joining us here inside the Community Connection. 7 minutes after the hour for 3 o'clock. We're inside the Community Connection with Patrick Reed and, of course, Roslyn. Each and every Sunday from 2 o'clock until 4, live right here on Roadblock Radio. Keep in mind the number here, 877-255-3086. That number again is 877-255-3086. Looking at the weather right now, 35 degrees in the northeast. We have some sunshine and cloud mixed together. Temperatures will drop down to 31. And if we hop over to the tri-state area, 36 right now. And, of course, mostly sunny sky. Temperatures nearly steady. Low temperatures will be about 30. It's all said and done. We say good afternoon, South Florida, 77 right now with sunny skies mixing with clouds, a slight chance of showers and thunderstorm later on with temperatures getting up to 78. Let's go back and join Patrick Reed and Roslyn inside the Community Connection live here on Roadblock Radio. Hi, guys.
Hey there.
All right. All right, so welcome back, Roslyn. Welcome back. Let's see, Patrick is there.
Yeah, man. I am just
yes,
I'm in awe of the great weather you just expressed to us there, Garfield, man. On a day like today, a Sunday afternoon, folks are in their homes and in their special places, and we're here just chatting it up a bit about the current events. And what has happened has given many people a full plate and much to talk about. Because this stuff, it can give you some indigestion. I don't know, man. It's serious business, Garfield. Go ahead, man.
Makes you have to take some Pepto-Bismol.
Indeed. So I'm glad we have good weather so we can tolerate it right now, man.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, man. We take it slight, and I guess a lot of people around the world, in this country in particular, are kind of stunned. And I don't believe I thought I would have awakened a couple of days ago and would be told that the United States invaded Venezuela and took President Maduro out of office and his wife. And that's the last thing I thought I would have heard.
How you think that happened, Patrick, with such with such quietness?
Well, meticulous planning and precision. And an overwhelming force with the arrogance to know that if you did it, no one would stop you. No one could stop you. No one can say anything about it.
What about the gatekeepers? Weren't they on alert?
Ah, boy, man. I heard someone say on the news that that right now the United States is not on the ground, and the Venezuelan people are kind of scared to go out there en masse because the military is so powerful, that they're afraid of the powerful military inside Venezuela.
So
I had to chuckle. Because
you're thinking that everybody just gave up once they see the American flag? They just throw up their hands in the air?
I mean, what choice do they have, man? Overwhelming force and precision. The American military might is just that. It's just what it is. It's mighty.
Maybe Roslyn have some insight that we don't know about.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, the only thing that, I'm aware of is what has been coming out of some of the mainstream media about how they literally cut the power, like they attacked power grids before moving in on the leadership. So, I don't know about you all, but if you try to attack someone in daylight versus at night when there's no power, I guess the odds of success in that mission vastly increased, right?
Mm-hmm. The American military is tremendously powerful. So when when someone unleashes that kind of force on you or on a nation, there's not much that can happen, barring some tragic action, that comes out of it from the point of view of the aggressor. This time around, I think the U.S. was careful to make sure that that there wasn't casualty of, first and foremost, American personnel, because that would have been something else to deal with if Americans had died. And then there was killing in Venezuela. We're hearing that then some people died because when bombs are dropping from above, they really don't have eyes, and so no matter how much you try to be precise, there's going to be civilian casualty, which there was. And nobody's talking about that too much. Almost like it's incidental to what happened.
Well, actually, I'm glad that you said that because I know probably not in a lot of the US media, but when you look at the international media scene, there has been some rhetoric comparing this to the conflict that's been happening in Gaza, just in
Mm-hmm.
terms of a disregard for civilians. So, and there have been independent journalists that have posted footage of the wreckage on social media. So anyone who wants to look at that, can
Mm-hmm.
freely access it. So to your point, it's destabilizing to any geography to undergo an invasion like this. And I don't know, but there's part of me that feels traumatized by it as well because I can't help but think of a country like where we all hail from, like Jamaica, right? I just can't
Mm-hmm.
imagine like just the harm and the trauma people are feeling from that level of instability or just sudden change and surprise. It's jarring to see
Mm-hmm.
in broad daylight and then so close to home for us, right? Because it's one
Mm-hmm.
thing to
Yeah.
talk about things that are happening in the Far East versus
Mm-hmm.
something that's happening right there in the Caribbean Sea.
Mm-hmm. And it must be saying to the people in the Caribbean now how defenseless they are, how very defenseless they are, and making them almost walk on eggshells to say, well, we can't even talk loud. If we speak loud and the U.S. don't agree with it, we might be in jeopardy, right? We've always been in jeopardy with embargoes and all kind of financial instruments that are used to wreck our economy, increase our inflation, and put us at a deficit. But now we have to worry about some, elite unit coming in the middle of the night and causing some havoc unchecked. Good thing about the United States military is that it has a check on it. It's called the Congress of the United States. They have to approve whether or not you go bomb somebody. But and the presidents always in the history of America had executive privilege. But this is the only president really. Well, there's some debate about that. Obama used some privilege when attacked I guess Libya and elsewhere. But in the kind of thing that most presidents engage in, just unwarranted use of the power without checking with the powers to be to make sure that we have a yes. American people say yes because what is going to happen now? What is going to happen now? The government is there still standing up. They're still the government. The rhetoric coming out of the United States don't really match what is on the ground unless there's some secret deal that has been struck between the new and incoming newly sworn in president of Venezuela, and she's just giving us some just bamboozling the entire world by saying they're going to assert their independence, and at the same time that she's doing something that behind the scenes that we don't know about. It's going to be an interesting play out, Garfield.
Well, she said Venezuela will no longer be a colony. What do you think she mean by that, Patrick?
It's tough talk. It's tough talk, and she means that they're going to maintain the status quo in terms of being the government that is in place. But how do you put that kind of tough talk on the table when you just experience what happened? It's a tough I think plate of food to eat. I think.
Roslyn?
Well, you know what? This is the thing. I have been looking a little bit at the international community's responses, right? And the lines that are being drawn are very clear to me, right? It's essentially the Western powers, and then there's everyone else, right? And so what I'm trying to do the math in my mind and saying, you know, with the rise of BRICS and other foreign powers, is this an attempt to rebalance the scale from an economic standpoint? Is it more than just, hey, we're trying to acquire resources for ourselves, and but maybe also a response to Russia and China and saying, hey, we control some other area too that has a lot of oil, so you're not going to outpace us in this so-called new world order. Is that part of it? Or am I conspiracy theorist like Patrick?
I think we can join company now, Roz. I think that it is definitely a statement that is being made, right? So the statement is, from my perspective, is this: look, we are in charge in this hemisphere. This is our backyard. We control it, and Venezuela provided the right, ingredients for the U.S. to go out and say, we're kicking China out, we're kicking Russia out, we want them out of North and South America, we want them out of here. We're going to lock it down as we try to assert our presence in Europe, or Eastern Europe, and maintain our presence in the Middle East. I think it's clear to see that this provided that answer to China and to Russia, that we're totally in control over here. So if you spend your money building roads, in your Road and Belt Initiative, China, if you spend your money expanding your influence in this territory, you've just wasted it, right? If you are sending support to the South America or the Caribbean, Russia, it's over. We've stymied Cuba. You're going nowhere there, and we want you out of here. So the United States is making a big statement that this area you can't touch. It's off limits. So for the countries in the Caribbean and South America, this new world order, as you put it, Roslyn, is real. And they don't know, I think, they don't know what it really means. But from my perspective, it's about American dominance, American superiority, American military might,
right,
in this hemisphere, yeah.
And the thing about it is, as a diaspora, how much power do we have to determine what role we play on the board? Because right now we're being treated as pawns, really, right? That we're easily interchangeable and disposable, and you can just, like you said, we're defenseless and you can do whatever you want. So I'm curious, and this is me thinking out loud and something I need to meditate on later. What should the response be, from the Caribbean diaspora, not just those who are literally sitting there physically, but even globally? What is going to be our call to action to our community on how we are to respond to this? Because I just want to put out there are groups where if you infringe upon them or you do something, right, there is a response that drives a level of accountability, or at least helps balance the conversation, right? And so what does that mean for us? How do we manage this as a community and strategically on the global stage?
Well, I think that is a big question to be answered, Roslyn, is, what next for us? I think we ought to take a lesson from history that America is not the first superpower in the world, and others have come and realized they cannot totally dominate everyone and determine everyone's future. The British learned that, the French learned that, the Spanish learned that, and America is due to learn it. The thing that there are mechanisms that we've always used to help ourselves respond. The United Nations is one, although it's been kind of spineless lately. But the United Nations can still be an effective tool, and that speaks to the unity of the world. The unity of the world brought down Nazi Germany. The unity of the world brought down Mussolini and others who sought to dominate the world, right? And then there's the Caribbean, right? I'm curious to see what CARICOM is going to do. What kind of conversations CARICOM going to have? Since the waters of the Caribbean were used to carry out this particular action. Nobody, I don't even think I doubt the United States asked permission to go into the waters of many of the countries who have sovereign territories, sovereign waters. They just flew over. I'm sure if they call and say, we're coming over your orders, so Jamaica is going to say, oh, okay, boss, one of the Barbados is going to say, well, we don't like it. We don't think you should come over. And they're going to say, we're coming anyway. I think that CARICOM has to become a tool, an effective tool for the voice of the Caribbean nations. And it's time they get off the sideline and stop juxtapositioning and bring CARICOM together as a strong, united body, so that when they speak in a unified manner. And the United Nations has to be bolstered. The Security Council has to be changed. I mean, I think Russia and BRICS and all those who are talking about changing the construct of the Security Council need to push that agenda, because you can have one out of 5 nations, one nation determine that something is going to or not going to happen. It's just something that this new world order is interesting how it's being set up. And I wonder if they're going to be revolutionaries, they're going to be people of goodwill, and of like mind. We're going to go out and say, we can't go that direction. It is tough, because I'm still waiting to hear what's going to happen in Venezuela. Who's going to run it? The U.S. president said he is.
Right. And Patrick, as you were speaking, I was questioning what is going to make the camel's back break. Is this that moment? Right? Yeah. Because we've allowed, or not that we've allowed, but so much has already occurred, right? And these foreign powers, including some that are considered longtime allies to the United States, right? We have, the British Prime Minister distancing so far from this, saying that we weren't involved, right? So, when we look at the New World Order, at what point are leaders overseas going to say, okay, you know what, this is too much? Yes, we've spoken up. Yes, we've said certain things, but now we have to follow through and actually, do something about this. And I wonder how that is going to change the stature of the United States on the global stage long term, with some of the actions that we've seen take place, as well as our own economic reality that most Americans are feeling right now.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting, and we're living in a history lesson. We're going to see what happens with President Maduro in the next in the coming weeks. I think a lot of our answers our questions will be approached in the next couple. I don't think we'll have answers to this for a long time. But we have something to say about it. We're going to talk about it here inside the Community Connection each and every Sunday, whether you're standing in Connecticut and beyond, or in the tri-state area, or in South Florida, or on the World Wide Web, anywhere in the world, on any app that you can think about, roadblockradio.com. And the Community Connection is here. We're going to talk about it, walk it, and talk it, Roslyn, because we need to have that voice. Our voice is important. Your voice is important, and you need to express your voice. And when you express your voice, you can then follow it up with expressing by vote. That is happening. I am always a proponent of speaking with your vote. Speak at the local level, speak at the state level, speak at the county level, speak at the national level, and by extension, the international level. It is critical that we get involved and stay involved. So let's keep our voices going, Roslyn. These questions that you've been asking are critical questions to be answered. So we'll see and follow the conversation and bring it to our folks as we go forward. Garfield, got a few more moments before we take it out in the bottom of the hour, man. You go for it. Express yourself, man. Express yourself.
All right. Roadblock Radio, 26 minutes after 3 o'clock. And we're inside the Community Connection with Patrick Reed and Roslyn. Happens each and every Sunday from 2 o'clock until 4. Talk about things that are happening in the world, locally, internationally. And, of course, the number here, 877-255-3086. That number again is 877-255-3086. You can certainly call and chime in. Let me say Happy New Year to all our listeners tuning in to the Community Connection at this time. And, of course, well, hopefully that the year 2026 will be greater, much greater for you and yours. And if you started something in 2025, and you can take it over to 2026 because it was that good. My goodness, go for it. We'll take a break. We'll come right back with some more music right here inside Roadblock Radio.
already know.
WCMX HD3 Hartford. 93.7 FM Roadblock.
Gun show.
Home for Caribbean hits.
You're in my life, and I'm so satisfied. Your love and mine, two hearts that are entwined. So many times I thought I never find what I'm searching for. I wanna say tonight, you were the one to restore my love. Baby, tonight, all I want is you and I. You are the one I will love until the end of time. Baby, tonight, let me take your hands in mine. For you are the one I will love until the end of time. I know that life is hard without someone to give your heart. I'm gonna take this time to say what is on my mind. So many times I thought I never find what I'm searching for. See, to love someone is sometimes easier said than done. Baby, tonight, all I want is you and I wanna show you my love. I will love you till the end of time. Baby, tonight, let me take your hands in mine. I wanna tell you my love. I will love you till the end of time. So many times I thought I never find what I'm searching for. I'm gonna take this time, for you are the one who restored my love. Baby, tonight, all I want is you and I to cherish our love, show feelings that we just can't hide.
It's Roadblock, where the vibes and the music is hot.
Though those guys may try to put you down, I won't stand to see you wear a frown. When you were around, you were all that I could own. But though you put me down, girl, you never wear a frown. True devotion was my pledge to you, and that I will never be untrue. My love for you was real. I did what I could do. But though you put me down, girl, you never wear a frown. Though those guys may try to put you down, I won't stand to see you wear a frown. When you were around, you were all that I could own. But though you put me down, girl, you never wear a frown. True devotion was my pledge to you, and that I will never be untrue. My love for you was real. I did what I could do. But though you put me down, girl, you never wear a frown. But though you put me down, girl, you never wear a frown.
Roadblock Radio. Island Mix Weekends.
For you, there'll be no mountain I would not climb, no treasure I would not find. I'll turn the hands of time for you. strength, your company, your friends, and your lover. I'll be there when you cry, to dry your eyes, keep you warm, shelter you from the storm. For you, there is no cup I would not full, no string I would not pull, no place I would not go. For you, I'll be right there when you call, your cushion if you fall, and I'll be standing tall. For you, I'll be your strength, your company, your friends, and your lover. I'll be there when you cry, to dry your eyes, keep you warm, shelter you from the storm. For you, yeah, yeah. Your strength, your company, your friends, and your lover. I'll be there when you cry, to dry your eyes, keep you warm, shelter you from the storm. For you, there is no cup I would not full, no string I would not pull, no place I would not go. For you, be right there when you call, your cushion if you fall, and I'll be standing tall. For you, there is no mountain I would not climb, no treasure I would not find. I'll turn
Roadblock Radio,
1011 HD3 New York Tri-State, 1027 HD3 South Florida.
Not Sterling.
Sweet home, yeah. All the time, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. There's a blizzard coming on. Oh, I wish I was home, and my feet is cold and I can't hardly stand. Listen to the northern side. If we don't get home, we'll die. And it's only a plane ride to Jamaica, yeah. Yes, it's only a plane ride to sweet Jamaica.
You can bet she's on my mind, 'cause it's barely summertime, and I bet there is some good food there for me. Lord, my hands feel like they're froze. There's a numbness in my toes, but it's only a plane ride to Jamaica. Yes, it's only a plane ride to Jamaica.
The place is so nice, everyone want to be. Is it the sunshine, blue mountain, or the
Sunday afternoon radio? This is the way we captivate your mind, your body, and your soul. Yeah, man. All right. Oh, I get carried away. Oh, never mind. I forgot to have Patrick read and Roslyn.
You're deep in the music, Garfield, I see.
Welcome back. Patrick, are you there? All right, Patrick.
Yes, man. Right here, Garfield. Right here. Still in the mix. I'm glad to be here once again inside the Community Connection. I'm telling you, man, it is an interesting day that we're living in. We do have, Garfield.
Yes, sir.
Do you realize that we are living in a time of change, of real change that we can touch and feel?
Well,
we can touch it and we can feel it, Garfield.
Yeah, in every way we are making changes. The new year comes in, people are making changes, politics are changing, the way we look at things are changing, technology is changing. It's an ever-changing world.
Yeah, man. It is 2026 has ushered in a world of possibilities. And also a world that I believe is still struggling to determine its destiny. And there are so many players on the landscape right now on the field who are putting their piece on the table, trying to, I guess, continue with the experiment that we call life, and in this country that we call democracy, to see if we can make it better for everyone. In New York City, we've just inaugurated a mayor that is historical in so many proportions. Is historical as the first Muslim. Is one of the youngest. He's unapologetic for any of those things, and he's very verbal and forcefully verbal on some of the things that he believes in. It's antithetical to what is happening on the national and international scale to have a mayor who bring those credentials on the table, Roslyn. What a time we're in. It's perplexing in somewhat, but it also seems to give us a measure of hope that the future can be brighter. What do you say on that?
Yes, and you know what? I think that his candidacy, the historic turnout, is just evidence that people are ready and open to something different than what leadership has looked like before, right? And so I know this past week, there's a lot of news about him going after, slumlords, right? And I think that's great, right? Equitable and affordable housing is an important topic. However, on a broader arc, I'm really looking at the things he's doing differently in terms of creating an office of mass engagement, right? So bringing like movement politics and that organizing energy actually into governance, which I'm curious to see how this unconventional approach is going to play out. It's said to be a strategy that they want to use to involve, more people who have been traditionally marginalized from these spaces, right? But I'm just curious to see how it will play out. And then also, I've lived enough to know that anytime you go against convention, you're going to attract a lot of critique and criticism. So I'm really just looking at his administration in its very beginning days to see if they are able to sell people on the ideas they've put forth this week in the long term.
Indeed. All right. So once again, folks, if you are just joining us here inside the Community Connection, we are, of course, in full swing, and we have about 20 more minutes to burn here inside the Community Connection. So if you have any concern or you want to join in the conversation, Patrick and, of course, Roslyn is here with you each and every Sunday from 2 o'clock until 4. And Roslyn has just gave you a perspective on what she thinks is going to happen. But so, Roslyn, what do you think about the president running running Venezuela, taking over the the country and running it? What do you think about that?
I think that there are a lot of Americans right now that are struggling with affordability, that are concerned about their healthcare premiums and other kitchen table topics, such that the idea of running a whole nother country is completely unfathomable.
Mm-hmm. But, the president seemed to have boots on the ground that knows how to run that country for them to take on such a task, don't you think?
Now, I think what happens when we see boots on the ground, right, that means there are resources being spent, right? And so resources that could otherwise be invested into, and the American people is now going into another foreign military operation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, Patrick, are you still with us? Or Patrick is trying to clear?
Yeah, man, Garfield, I'm here, man. I'm here.
Right.
I'm here.
All right.
And I was catching Roslyn's conversation about the New York City mayor, because when New York City, I guess when it coughs, everybody gets a cold around the world. It's such an important city, and this new mayor, Roslyn, as you indicated, has taken on some kitchen table issues. Some quality of life issues that folks are struggling with. So while we're really projecting our American power in the region and abroad, Americans are feeling the issues on their kitchen table. You know, the affordability issue is something that the MAGA group has really lined up on. They want prices down. I mean, you know, some can say gas prices are a little down. That's true, but the food prices are still too high. They're still struggling with high interest rate. It's not going down too fast, and some real core issues that are impacting Americans. So the ushering of this new mayor, Americans, at least in New York State, in New York City, are speaking one language. I'm wondering if the rest of the country is keeping up with that conversation. Rosie, how do you see it?
I think that they are, right? Of course, we know that there are geographies in the United States that are thought of as more affordable than, say, a place like New York City. But regardless of where you live, and you know this, Patrick, from being in labor, you know, there are market rate adjustments to income depending on where you live, right? So
yeah,
no matter where you are in the country right now, if your cost of living greatly exceeds, you know, what employers are even paying, like what we have the capacity to earn right now, then inevitably there is going to be an affordability crisis. And what I find fascinating is that affordability is being literally yelled from the hills by people from all walks of life. It's not just, you know, one demographic that is talking about this right now. So we need to pay attention to the fact that this affordability thing has the capacity to bring everyone on the same page in terms of what we tell our leaders in Washington they need to be focused on.
Yeah. You know, and New York City can speak. I think the voice from New York City is strong. So hopefully the New York delegation, the New York contingency will have enough of an. I know they'll influence, you know, national politics to a certain extent, but I'm just wondering if they're going to have an impact on this president. This president don't seem to take, you know, any lead from anyone. He does what he believes in, and but he'll have to definitely answer the call from the American population if the Republicans are to continue in power. What is happening now, I think, will, as you indicated before, will have a big impact on the midterm elections. And, you know, some of these bread and butter issues are going to come right to the fore when that happens. And that's going to determine the next Congress, I believe, you know, above and beyond what's going on now. But you know, going into the new year, what are we hoping for, Roslyn? We've got to have some hopes and some goals and some dreams as what can come out of this new year. What we'd like to see first quarter, second quarter. I would like to see some things. You know, I would like to see a change in the rhetoric. I'd like to see Congress becoming more impactful and more involved in the decisions that really shape this country. You know, unless people are really pulling the wool over our eyes, you know, it don't seem like we have a Congress right now. I would like to see them more involved in the Congress. Why are we voting? We vote to send folks to be our voice at the table. And this president seems to have found a way to shut them up, at least to sideline them, and people act as though there's not a co-equal branch of government. It is I think in some ways very shameful, you know, and very important that it be changed.
So to that point, Patrick, one thing I am hoping and praying for in 2026, I would love to see the reactivation of the Caribbean diaspora, either running for office or being able to get behind people that are running for office, right?
Because now you're talking about language. Now you're talking about language.
Yes, I know.
You know how to get on my skin. Yeah, man.
Absolutely. I feel like the window of opportunity is wide right now, because anytime there's chaos, there's opportunity, right? Absolutely. When everything's okay, people kind of check out, right? But right now, if you are a member of the Caribbean diaspora and you've never thought about running for office or you've never thought about advocacy, this is the moment to just jump out there and to not overthink it, right? Because, we tend to, in this community, we have 5 jobs, we're trying to raise families or send money back home and all those things, right? But if we've been here long enough to establish roots and multiple generations, I think it's about time we have a true seat at the table and be able to have a list of things that we are uniquely interested in from a policy perspective that leaders have to respond to.
Yeah, I don't know how many times we have to tell folks in our community that you are important, your voice is important, what you do counts. We're not just here to take up space. What happened, in Venezuela can happen anywhere. We have a voice and we need to use it. The most important aspect of politics is local politics. We work hard every day and we pay an exorbitant amount of taxes for our homes and food and everything else without our involvement, without our seat at the table to say, yeah, raise tax this year and don't raise it next year, that kind of thing, because it's going to affect our children get educated, how we take care of our elderly and our health care and so forth. We have to take this as an opportunity, as our ancestors took every opportunity they got to make a change. We have to take this as an opportunity to step into the gap and make a change. Because if we don't speak, who's going to speak for us, Roslyn, as we always say? I think it's the right description. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So that's my hope. And the thing about it is, Patrick, when I think about these things, right, there has to be the infrastructure in place. So when you think about organizations that are out there that are mobilizing this, can you think of any? An organization that is civically or mobilizing the Caribbean community to be more civically engaged.
Yeah, and there are a number of them in throughout the diaspora, and especially in the Northeast. If you go to California, as a Jamaican, I can tell you about the Jamaica Organization of Northern California and our Jamaica Association of Northern California, the Jamaican Organization of Southern California. You come over to Houston, there's an organization there in Florida, a few of them in New York, of course, coming up to Atlanta, Washington. We have an organization in New York, in the tri-state area, the Jamaica Organization in New Jersey. We have many Jamaican organizations in New York. There's no one Jamaica Organization of New York, which is a travesty. And there's no one Caribbean Organization of New York, which is a bigger travesty. So we have to find opportunities to really get in the ones that already exist. And if you join the mission of the organization, make your input, make it numerically, make it financially. I mentioned that at the end of last year, and I will continue it. It's a realism for me that it's a realization that I hope to have this year, and myself and others who are inclined to join forces and create a Jamaica Organization of New York, Johnny. And the goal of that is to be prepared, is to get ourselves together, raise funds, support what's important to us in a unified manner. The Caribbean organizations, whether they're from Trinidad or Barbados or St. Lucia or whatever the case might be, or Guyana, we have to start thinking about coming together and begin to marshal our resources and take back our tax dollars from the state coffers and the federal coffers and put it to good use in our communities, and by extension help our brothers and sisters back home like everybody else does. This is the call of the day. It is the call of this year. And Roslyn, I know we're going to do some work together. Come January, when I come back I'm going to Jamaica. When I come back from Jamaica mid-month, I'm on the move, and so I'm going to find folks of like mind. I know that you're at the table equally here, Roslyn. So we'll find folks and we will get this thing moving, so we can have that voice we speak about.
Absolutely, and just out of curiosity, Patrick, up until this point, what do you think are the unique barriers to all of these organizations coming together under an umbrella of some sort. Because even if it's not a unified organization, but having the infrastructure and network in place that we are coordinating efforts. So whether that's for disaster relief, whether that's for civic engagement or another cause, what is keeping us from having that level of connectivity and organization muscle to be able to move people in numbers?
Yeah, I think a few things operating at the same time. One is complacency. I think a lot of us are very complacent. We think things are going to work out in our favor, no matter what the case. It's always going to be the same. It's not always going to be the same. We if it's going to be, it's going to be because of me. That's the philosophy we ought to adopt. So that complacency has to stop. The other has been our Achilles heel is the unity prospect, right? Are we unified enough to trust each other? And that we're going to work together. We're going to put our hands together, our minds together, our monies together, our bodies together. Because I'm known for saying that numbers equal money and numbers equal power. They're one and the same. And so that unity factor we must overcome it, because it is what has gotten us free. It's sort of ironic. The irony of this is that we always say we're not unified, and yet it's our unity that made us a free people. And it's our unity that's propelled us to where we are. So where's this dichotomy coming from? Who's feeding us that nonsense?
Exactly. And why do we perpetuate it?
Seemed like we lost Patrick there for a brief
Yes, seems
moment.
so.
Yeah, well, we have about 6 more minutes to burn. I don't know if we're going to get him back within time, but he's on the move, so we'll wait to see if we can get him back. Once again, folks, if you're just tuning in, we're inside the Community Connection live here on Roadblock Radio. And, of course, Roslyn and Patrick is making the call on the politics and the things that are happening around our community, our country, and, of course, in the, internationally. All right. 877-255-3086. We might be able to squeeze in one call if you want to talk. We only got 5 minutes more to burn. So, Roslyn, any final word? We probably have to wrap it up because I don't think Patrick is going to be rejoining, or maybe.
Well, I mean, my final word in the context of everything that we discussed today, I just think it's important for our community to be informed, no matter how busy we are, no matter what ambition we have and how much we're striving, still make an effort to be informed and to be involved at the capacity that you can, right? Because it's going to take more participation in order for us to really have that seat at the table and to influence changes at a systemic level.
Indeed. Well said. All right, so folks, we only got 4 minutes to burn. Stand by. Fenton Troy is coming up next inside the Vintage Showcase, and he will take you all till 6 o'clock. This is where we got to leave it. Roslyn and Patrick, if you're hearing us, we'll rejoin next week, same time, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, live right here on the big Roadblock Radio.
Have a blessed week, Garfield. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.